yourself and say hello. Let me know where you're calling from or where you're zooming in from.
This is Griffin from San Diego.
Oh, very nice. Hey, Griffin. Let's see here. So you guys are my test group here. We got supposedly 15 to 20 people that are going to show up here. Again, I'll give them a couple minutes and I may just have to repeat myself at the end. There's somebody else and they're just going to, this is how Zoom calls go, right? Everyone just kind of trickles in over time. So we'll give everybody just another moment to get here. I've been doing one-on-one calls. I'm a recruiter with ERC Nationwide. I'm also a sales associate or affiliate with ERC Nationwide. And so I'm going to, in this call today, explain to everybody exactly what it is that we're doing, what the opportunity entails. We're going to go through how it works, how you get paid, how you reach out to businesses, all of that stuff. And I've been doing one-on-one calls. In fact, I've got, I think, one or two people on this line right now who were going to be on this line who were with me on a one-on-one call earlier this week. And so they got the benefit of that. But I just was booked back to back to back to back to back with nonstop calls all week long. And so I'm trying out, you guys are my guinea pigs. I'm trying out a group call just to see how this works to answer people's questions in a more efficient manner. So hopefully this will work out pretty good. You know what? I'm going to respect everyone else's time. And if people trickle in, they'll just get in late. So we'll go ahead and get started. At least 4 of you guys are new here. So I know Eva's here. We've got someone on the phone as well. 1 or 2 people listening in. So this is a very unique position. And I've never seen anything like this before. I'll tell you right now, full disclosure. Again, my name is Justin. I actually run my own company. It's a marketing company called Hundreds of Customers, and I've been doing that for over 10 years. I am on track to have my first $1 million year next year in my own company, which I'm very proud of. I'm very excited for. But I'm actually pausing a lot of what I'm doing with my own company because I see the opportunity here, and I'm on track to have $1 million year in this, possibly by tax day and maybe even sooner. So I'm dedicating myself to being a recruiter for the company and also doing these calls myself. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing and what's working on our team for people. That's making a lot of people very happy, we'll say. I am going to start with some bad news. And for a couple of you guys, this may be a disqualifier. And if so, it is. I'm sorry. That's how it is. But then I'm going to go into the full information. There is a chat window down below. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put comments in the chat. I'm going to try and pop that out so I can see it as they come in. If you put something in the chat, put QQQ next to it. Like this right here, and that way I just see it. If the chat winds up getting filled up, it just lets me know, hey, I've got a question. But I'll probably answer most of your questions. I've more or less given this explanation 6 dozen times, 7 dozen times in the last week. So there is a logical flow to everything I say and how I say it. I'm going to start with the disqualifier, though. For some people, this is a make or break issue. So I want to be very upfront about this. And this is a legitimate company. This is a legitimate business opportunity. There is a significant amount of money to be made. ERC Nationwide is a real company, et cetera, et cetera. And what you are being asked to do is very, very simple. It's literally 15 or 20 minutes worth of work. And what that really is finding a business that needs something, in this case, money, and finding a business that can help them get that, in this case, ERC Nationwide, and making a hello, right? Making an introduction between them. And that's it. It's about 15 minutes worth of work. Once you've done that work, ERC Nationwide goes to work on the back end and they get the payroll sheets and the tax forms and everything else. They've got CPAs, they've got attorneys, and they get all this stuff ready. That can take a week or so in order for us to get all that done. And then they file it with the IRS. And here's where the bad news comes in. We get paid at the speed of the IRS. And I need you guys to kind of internalize what that means, right? If you are joining this call because you are looking for a position that will pay you, by next Friday, this is not going to be the gig for you. And if that's just a disqualifier, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. Right now, we're looking at probably between a month and 6 months, depending on whose numbers you're looking at. I tell everyone, plan on 3 or 4 months. I've heard 1 or 2 people say, I heard 6 months. I've heard some people get theirs in under a month, right? But we're having to file, ERC Nationwide has to file these documentations with the IRS. And I believe they're almost exclusively paper documentations. And so that adds time to this. So if you're looking for a position that's going to pay you tomorrow, this is not going to be it. That being said, so that's this seems too good to be true. There's got to be a catch, right? That's the biggest catch that there is. And again, if that's a make or break issue for you, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. I do run my own company and I pay faster. So if you want to reach out to me via LinkedIn or whatever about doing sales for me on the side, I'm happy to talk to you about that. But this particular call is about ERC Nationwide. So if you are still here, I trust that means you are at least interested, you want to learn more. And this is definitely the type of thing you can do part-time. So if you're living hand to mouth and you need something that pays you quickly, but you're very interested still in doing this as well, you can still do this part-time or full-time. You're basically an independent contractor. It's like being 1099. You're actually W-9, which is affiliate income. So I'm going to walk you start to finish through everything about this position. And at the end of this call, if it makes sense, you guys are welcome to, ask me questions or, come on board and work with us, right? So I'm going to give you everything start to finish. I'm going to put a link in the chat box, and that's this right here. You do not need to go to this right now, though you are welcome to. I'd prefer, honestly, if you follow along on the screen with me right now, just so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat box for everyone. And this is where you become an affiliate, because what this really is at the end of the day is an affiliate offer. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page. And on this page, you're going to be able to sign up with your email, first name, last name, phone number, and password. So what is an affiliate offer? Most of you guys are probably somewhat familiar with affiliate offers, but just to make sure we're all on the same page. If you've ever looked up a recipe on your phone, you've probably gone to a recipe site or a food site. And when you go to a site like that, the common joke that everyone experiences is it's about 8 miles of text that you have to scroll through before you get to the little tiny recipe at the bottom. And it's a frustration, it's an annoyance for everyone. But that's because almost every single food blog or recipe blog out there is built on an affiliate model. So all of that text that comes above the recipe that you would click on contains links. And those links are things to like links to Amazon, right? Links to a company like Blue Apron that delivers food and meals to you, meal prep kits, links to some cookware company or whatnot. And the affiliate marketing model generally is you drive a lot of traffic. So food blogs get thousands and thousands and thousands of hits a day. 1, 2, maybe 3% of those will click on an affiliate link. And of those, 1, 2, 3%, 10%, whatever, will buy something. So someone goes to Amazon, from your link, they buy something, you get 4% of whatever they buy. I actually ran a blog like this once, and I usually got like a $20 gift card from Amazon once every couple of weeks or so, precisely because I was generating a little bit of income. And then one day I got like a $500 check from Amazon. I was like, whoa, what happened here, right? And it turns out somebody had followed my link, gone to Amazon, and I don't remember exactly what they bought necessarily, but oh, we have somebody else joining in here. Basically, they bought like a couple of drill presses, a couple of backup generators, like a whole bunch of machinery and equipment. And I got 4% of what that sale was, right? So when they go and they buy something through an affiliate link, that's how affiliate marketing works. That's the basis of all that stuff, right? The difference is with something like Amazon, everyone understands how to use Amazon. Amazon is not a confusing thing. Most of you probably have an Amazon account. If I sent you to Amazon right now, you'd know how to just click the button and use Amazon, buy the thing you want and get it to you, right? So what we are doing with ERC Nationwide is this is an affiliate program. You are going to become an affiliate of ERC Nationwide. And just like Amazon, you're going to get 4%. But the difference is with Amazon, you're getting 4% usually of like a $30 pie or a $100 pie. I mean, average Amazon orders have definitely gone up as everyone kind of relies on Amazon. I live in a town that's 7 square miles and about 12,000 people, right? It's not very big. We Amazon a lot because a lot of things around here we just can't get. We got ourselves a local Walmart, but it doesn't carry all the things we want, right? But with ERC, what you're doing is you're still getting 4%, but you're getting 4% of a much bigger pie. We're talking $200,000 on up to $2.6 million or more. We had a guy just last week close a $2.6 million deal with a company. And this is helping companies get money that they need. I'm going to go through all of that here in a minute, but first I'm going to explain just the onboarding process. So again, that link is signup.nationalerc.org. And if you go to that link, what you will see is this page. You fill out your email, your first name, your last name, your phone number, your password. I highly recommend you click on agree to receive notifications when you get a commission, because again, there already is a huge lag in when paperwork is submitted and when you get paid. You want to know when that commission is coming in. You also do need to agree to the affiliate terms of service, which is right here. Now, full disclosure, I am not an attorney and I am not here to give you legal advice. You are entering into a legal agreement with ERC Nationwide if you fill this out and then you decide to become an affiliate. So please read this out, do your due diligence. I'm not going to give you legal advice. That said, off the record, I filled it out just fine. I had no problems with it. As far as I can tell, it's your standard boilerplate affiliate agreement that says you're not going to submit fraudulent information. If you do, they can come after you legally. You know, if you're trying to scam them. And it's really, really hard to scam in this because we're literally having to file paperwork with the IRS. And it's usually paperwork they already have access to because the businesses would have already filed in previous years, because what we're looking at is the ERC tax credit, which is a retroactive tax credit for tax years 2020 and 2021, both of which have generally already been filed, right? But do your due diligence. Once you come down to the bottom, you click OK, and it'll take you back to the main screen, and you click Go. And once you've done that, it's going to dump you into the back end, and the back end is going to look something like, well, the first thing it's going to ask you for on the back end is it's going to say to give them how you want to get paid. And what that means is the company's going to pay you in a digital way, usually either via connection with your bank account if you feel comfortable putting it in there, or for most people, what I recommend is use the PayPal option because everybody has PayPal. At the end of the day, you don't know me from Adam. You don't know this company from Adam. So if you want that extra buffer, just put in PayPal. Once you do that, you're going to see this right here. And there's a couple of things on the back end. Now, this is my demo account, so I'll talk about this in a minute. You will need to submit eventually a W-9 form. W-9 is kind of like a 1099, but this is for affiliate income. You do not need to fill this out when you first start working with the company. But when you have commissions coming inbound, you will need to fill this out because the government always wants to take their cut of everything, including their cut of tax money that they've already taken. Right? That's just how the government is, and that's life, death, taxes, and bureaucracy, right? So you will eventually need to fill a W-9. If for some reason you're not U.S. national, if you're abroad and you're not a citizen of our country, you need to fill out the W-8 Ben form instead. But I'm working almost exclusively with people in the United States, so it is what it is. I have one guy who's actually from Mexico that's working with me. But and then down here is the money link. So this is your affiliate link, right? And when you click on this affiliate link, it will send you to the page for ERC Nationwide. And on this page, I'm going to explain a couple things. Now, if you remember earlier, I gave you that the food blog example, right? So if you click on a link on Amazon from a food blog or whatever, and you go over to Amazon, everybody understands intrinsically how to use Amazon. You don't need to hold somebody's hand and say, okay, now you need to click add to cart. Now you need to, do this and that. Most people I use the one tap buy button half the time because I'm just like, I need this thing. Let's get it done. It's here tomorrow, whatever it is, right? And that's how it is with most affiliate programs. Even if it's a service you've never used, like Blue Apron or whatever, it's pretty self-explanatory. This site is not. So when you're doing this site, if you just take your link, and your link will look just like this, only it'll probably say something like 29 like that, right? It's an affiliate link. You are incidentally allowed to edit your link if you want. So if your name is Bob Smith, you can probably get Bob Smith right there, right? Whatnot. Do not edit it more than once. And once you've edited it, never touch it again, right? Because you want to make sure you know this link, because this link is what connects any submissions that are going to happen to you. This is your dashboard, more or less. There actually is a back-end dashboard where you can see the deals you've submitted and whether they're approved and everything else. But this is the money page, right? Because on this page, you've got this button that says see if you qualify. And when you click it, it's going to pop up the beginning of, it's going to pop up the beginning of a form that looks like this. Now, this form is how you get paid. So this form is your friend, but this form sucks. And I cannot stress that enough. This is the ugliest, dumbest, stupidest form you will ever see. If you just send people, if you just send them this link and say, hey, you should totally sign up via this link or whatever, you're going to make no money in this business because it is an awkward form. It's about 20 pages long. It's going to ask for some details that they probably aren't ready to give you or they don't know off the top of your head. So what I am teaching people to do as a recruiter for this company is to be what I call a concierge. And you're probably familiar with a concierge, but what a concierge does is he simply helps or guides people through the process of getting something done, right? If you stay at a fancy hotel and you need tickets to go see a Broadway show, you talk to the concierge and he gets you tickets. You want a bottle of champagne, the concierge gets you a bottle of champagne. So I'm teaching you guys to be a concierge and even to use something like Zoom like this and walk people through it. I'll walk you through the different ways you can do this, but in general, what I want you guys to be framing this as is this is where you get paid. This is the money. So I want you guys to be walking people through this form. And again, it is a dumb, stupid, ugly form. Now, I actually have some training on the back end. I have a whole document here that I put together with sales scripting and everything else. And I'm going to go through some of this as well. There's a video here, again, about the guy just last week who got a $2.6 million deal, right? So he's going to make 6 figures just off that one deal. But I actually have a video of me walking through this document in a kind of a role play so you know what's there. If you decide to become an affiliate with ERC Nationwide, I'm going to encourage you to go through this yourself. But when you do that, please put in test, 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 test. And the reason for that is, I already told you, there's a lag on when we get paid because the IRS is a stupid government bureaucracy that takes forever. But the last thing we need to do is gum up the system by making people take even longer because they're chasing down a bunch of, not fraudulent, but fake information things, right? Or submissions. So put that in there. But what this form does do, this is an intake form. And if you've ever done anything online, intake forms are nothing new. Intake forms are everywhere. You guys even fill out an intake form essentially to be on this call, right? If you run a mortgage company or savings and loan, right, they have an intake form. And that intake form asks you questions like, what is your name? Where do you live? Are you employed? Roughly what's your income level and whatnot, right? And people fill that out. Now, those forms, they always tell you, fill them out as accurately as possible. This form is going to say the same thing, fill it out as accurately as possible. But this form is not a legal document. And so sometimes you'll just need to eyeball it because nothing on this form is actually going to be used to fill out the paperwork to the IRS. Once this form is done, the company has a back end. They actually have sales staff and sales team that they'll have reach out to the people and make sure they submit their documents. They're going to get an email to a secure portal where they can upload their documents and everything else. The company will take over once this whole form is filled out. But this form is really good because it also helps you get an idea of roughly what kind of a refund people can be getting based on how many employees they have. And that's this simple calculator. And what this really is how many employees did they have in 2020 and 2021. The credit in 2020 can be up to $4,000. The credit in 2022, I think, can be up to $11,000, or 2021 can be up to $11,550. And there's a couple other things in here that can be multiplicative or add to it. But in general, this is doing a multiplication that gives you about $15,000, which I think is the average amount that we get back for our clients. And so we use this as just an eyeball to tell them roughly what this could be worth. And so when you're having a conversation with a company, you're allowed to basically say, it looks like you're owed about this much money. All we need is a little bit of your time to fill this out. So up till right now, is this clear to everybody? Does anyone have any questions about the general process of what we're doing? I'm going to go into the specifics here in just a minute, but do you have any questions about what I've said so far? You understand the concept of being an affiliate. You understand the concept of being a concierge. Is that cool? If you have any questions, you can unmute and say it, or you can throw it in the chat box. I'll give you 30 seconds while I take a drink of water or Gatorade, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, Justin, so this form, we have to do this form as well, or is this one, once we have a client on the phone and we're walking them through a Zoom, we're having them fill out this, correct?
That's correct. And actually, I'm going to encourage you more often than not to fill it out for them, just because you have full control of the situation. You're guiding them. You're the concierge. You're the guide, right? And so every time, you're going to want to save whatever your link is and make sure that's what you're going to, because that's how you get paid, right? But you're going to want to walk people through this form, step by step. And here's what we do next. Here's what we do next. It's going to ask some basic information like in 2019 versus 2020, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. You got to understand those concepts. The first quarter of the year, second quarter, third quarter. Was your income up above this level or below this level, right? Those are the questions it's going to ask, because there's actually 3 ways to apply for the ERC based on revenue reduction, based on hours or staffing reduction. So for instance, a service reduction, if you were a restaurant and you had to close your indoor area, but you had to drive through, or you had to close down every other table and put up plexiglass or whatever, or you had to reduce your hours. Even our local Walmart had to reduce. They used to be 24/7. Now they close at 11, open at 7, right? So like a 30% reduction in their hours, right? So almost any business qualifies for this, but they still have to have all that data. So those are the types of questions it's going to ask them. And again, on this form, once you get to like page 8 or 9, there's a couple of questions that are just really dumb. They're worded terribly. And usually you have to you read the headline and then there's like an explanation of what it's asking. But when you read the explanation of what it's asking and then you go to the answer at the bottom, it doesn't make any sense. And you have to go back and reread the headline. So it's a pain in the butt to fill this form out. I've talked to the company repeatedly and told them they need to make this better. But yeah, so this is an intake form and you are guiding them through the process of filling out an intake form. It takes you about 15 minutes to do this, plus maybe 5 minutes to set up the call and say, hey, come talk with me about this. And I'll walk you through how we do that as well in a minute. But that's it. Once you've done that, your hands are done. You are done with the client. You'll see them on your back end. You'll see when they've submitted their documents. You'll see when the paperwork goes off to the IRS. You'll see if the IRS approves it. In general, at least 50% of legitimate businesses that go through this process qualify. And in general, at least 50, the minimum we're getting, the average we're getting them is around $200,000. Some are worth a lot more. Some are worth less. It's going to depend mostly upon the qualification criteria that they have, right? Did they have, 5 employees, or did they have, 500 employees? And in general, that's the range we work in. I'm going to tell you right now, the sweet spot for most people is going to be a business between about 15 employees and about like 80 or 90 employees. And the reason is, I'll go into that a little bit more down the road, but it's really just because in a smaller company, it's easier to get a hold of the decision maker. They're less likely to have someone on staff that would have taken care of this or even know how to take care of this, et cetera. And so it just makes everything a lot easier. Does that make sense, Griffin?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you are a concierge helping them fill out this form. Now, there are multiple ways to bring businesses to this site. I really, 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 really strongly suggest that nobody just spam everyone with this form, because again, and I've given this example before, but if I had the funniest cat video on YouTube and I sent you a text and said, "Oh man, you got to see this video. It's 30 seconds long and it's hilarious and you're gonna laugh so hard," and I check in with you tomorrow. Hey, did you check out that video I sent you? Right? 50 chance you're gonna be like, nah, so I didn't get to it. I had to do the dishes and then something came up, right? And it's just a stupid 30-second cat video. This is a 20-minute form that asks some it's not painful questions, but just like questions we have to like stop and really like figure things out, right? You send this to a business, they're just never going to fill it out. So you need to be there to guide them through it. But if you're there guiding them through it, you're encouraging them to finish the process of filling out and becoming, going under the back end so that the company can reach out to them, right? So if you are being a concierge, you're going to have good success in this. So how do we get in front of businesses? This is my special document that I share with all of my the affiliates I'm bringing on to the company, because I want you to be as successful as possible. Full disclosure, I do this myself, right? I get 4% of every deal that I submit on the back end. Got multiples in the pipeline right now. I have not been paid yet because of that lag, but money is coming eventually. Again, I'm on track to make around $1 million by tax day. And I say that because I know that's about 6 months out. So by then everything should have cleared, right? Probably well before then, but that's my mental timeline, right? And so on this document, I have a lot of things, including some guidelines on different ways you can approach businesses. You guys are not idiots. You're here because you're smart, right? So you can probably figure a lot of this stuff out. But I want to go through these just because I want everyone to be on the same page. There's really 4 ways to do this well. Number 1 is belly to belly, door to door. And for some people, that's a no go. They don't want to do it. Some people love that. I gave you guys in that video the example of a gal named Anastasia. She's a mother of 4. She printed off some business cards that had a QR code on them, and that QR code led to her affiliate site. And she literally went door to door to 30 businesses, talked to them really briefly about it, gave them her card, and right there had them scan it with their own phone and fill out the form. She talked to 30 businesses, 3 of which had already applied for ERC, which is exactly what we're expecting right now. About 90% of people don't even know this is a thing. And I'll explain why that is in a minute. But so it's a blue ocean, right? There's wide open space for this to happen. But of the remaining 27, half, basically 13, filled out the form. And again, if half of those qualify, which is just an average, you might hit 13 out of 13. But if half of them qualify and the average is 200,000, she made at least 40, 50 grand in that one afternoon. I know for a fact one of those businesses, I think, had like 100 employees, give or take. It was something absurdly large. So she probably made closer to $250,000 for one afternoon's worth of work, right? And it's absurd to be able to make that much money, but that's what happens when you're dealing with massive piles of money. It doesn't take much. Again, 4% of an Amazon commission for even $100, it's $4. That's nothing, right? But 4% of $1 million is an awful lot more money for doing all of 15 minutes worth of work. So if you are interested in doing that, on the back end of my form, I actually have the training where she talks about it. I have a gal on my team that I brought in that is doing this and is I haven't heard, she started 2 days ago. I haven't heard back from her yet, but she printed off her business cards through Vistaprint or Walmart or whatever. I helped her make sure the cards were looking good and everything else. If you're interested in doing that way, I will support you as best I can. That is something you have to do. That is not an option for everybody. Again, I live in a town that's 7 square miles and 10,000 people. Like 12,000 people. And so there's just not a lot of businesses here. I can't really do that. I've talked to a few businesses face to face. I know most of the business owners in town, but for me, it's not really an issue. For some of you, it may not be an issue for a variety of reasons, but you can make that decision for yourself. Option number 2 is paid ads. And you're going to start seeing a lot of paid ads for this because there is just so much money to be made in this. We're not the only company out there doing this, to be fair, but we're the only one that opens up the opportunity to people like you to help us onboard these clients and make that money. Now, I run a marketing company by trade. I'm not going to teach you guys how to run paid ads because it's just a hassle. It really is tough to do. It requires capital outlay. You got to have probably thousands of dollars in revenue just to start generating leads. If you decide you want to do paid ads, if you have knowledge of paid ads, and I might work with you one-on-one down the road if someone's like really, really interested in doing this. I'll tell you right now, the one thing you don't want to do is run paid ads and just send them to your page, right? You don't want to send them here, even though it's your affiliate link, right? You want to send them somewhere, and I actually have my own version. It looks like this. I set this up in a service called Paperform, and I call it the 10-second calculator. And they come here and like, did you have at least 5 W-2 employees? And we have to work again, more than 5. Yes. And then how many did you have? And as soon as they put it in there, 65, it gives them a range and then asks them a few more questions. And then it books them a time to talk with me. Right. So I'm booking people this way personally. And if you're really interested after the fact, I'm not going to talk about it on this call. I can walk you through these steps. I might even put it in the back end eventually. But again, this is the type of thing that for some people, they just don't have the ability to do. They don't have the capital outlay. They don't have the technology or the skill or the savvy. And that's fine. You don't have to do paid ads. You will see them. You will see radio ads and TV ads and podcast, sponsors and whatnot. You'll see them on YouTube. The third way is warm outreach. And this one I recommend everyone do. And don't be gun shy about it, because this isn't like when you're selling Amway or Herbalife or something like that, where you're trying to get your friends and family to buy something that they don't need. This is literally, business owners. Almost everyone on this call knows business owners, right? And this is free money. We had a gal last month who had an aunt that runs a restaurant. She got her aunt, I think it was like 1.2 or $1.5 million for her restaurant. And her aunt was absolutely ecstatic about that, right? A friend that runs a plumbing company, your neighbor that runs a catering business, someone that runs a salon or whatnot. If they have employees, if they have W-2 employees and they were shut down at all in the midst of the pandemic, they are a great fit for this. And you can help get them free money that they never have to pay back. And you can have that conversation in a very natural way. Like, hey, Uncle Ryan, did you ever get that ERC credit, right? The what? And you can talk about it. And I'll go through the scripting on that in a little bit. Hey, Aunt Sally, I saw you got a PPP loan for $8 million, not that much, but, for $200,000, did you ever get your ERC? And again, I'm going to talk about this. A lot of people got PPP loans, which are great people to go after. They didn't get the ERC because at the time you couldn't get. If you got PPP, you were disqualified from ERC. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. And so this is a great way to actually get a couple deals in your pipeline in the first week, because business owners, right? And you don't need to be afraid of this, because you're just helping them get money that they wouldn't get otherwise. Again, this program is a 2-year program because of the CARES Act. In 2 years, this program, that's the moratorium, and it's done. And there's a big pocket of money right now. It's about 360 billion, 340 billion, something like that, right? About a tenth if it's gone. But when the money's gone, the money's gone, right? So if you miss your opportunity to apply, you miss your money to get this. You miss your chance to get this money regardless, right? And so just like right now, you can't get a PPP loan anymore, which is that Paycheck Protection Program that a lot of businesses took out, because that program is done, right? You won't be able to get the ERC credit if you take too long. And so for a lot of businesses who don't think they qualify, you're doing them a service just by reaching out and saying, by the way, you do probably qualify. You should look into this, right? And then the last is cold outreach. And for those of you guys with sales backgrounds, you understand cold outreach. I teach cold outreach. And the reason I teach cold outreach is because it's the one that's most scalable. Again, not everyone can go door to door for a variety of reasons. Not everyone can run paid ads. And even if you know a bunch of business owners, there's a limit to how many people you actually know, right? Obviously, you can work via referral, et cetera. But anyone can do cold outreach, and cold outreach is very, very easy to do. And I'm going to walk you through that process now in just a second, because we have a couple of ways that we do this that nobody else is really doing right now, and it's working incredibly well. We have people that are following this step and closing 1, 2, 3 deals a day, getting them into the back end of the system. And then, roughly half of those go on and qualify. Having said all that, and I know I'm talking really fast, and I'm hitting you guys like with a fire hose. Any questions so far before I go into the cold outreach method and what we're finding works really well? Any questions? You can QQQ in the comments, or feel free to unmute. Going once.
I've got a quick question. One of the things that is obviously going to be asked, you're telling us about how soon we're going to get our money. How soon does the business get their money?
Same time frame.
That's going to be asked.
Yeah, it's the same time frame. It's just tell them it's dependent upon the IRS. For them, it's just free money that'll come when it comes at the end of the day, right? It comes, it generally it's a check from the treasury, right? Now, because they come through us, it comes to us via escrow, and then we take our cut and then they get their cut or whatever, right? But it comes as soon as we get the money, it's going out to the people it needs to go out to, right? Because this is their money. We want to make sure they get it. But we work at the speed of the IRS, and they'll just laugh. Most people just laugh when you say that, right? We get paid at the speed of the IRS. People understand government bureaucracy sucks, right? It just is what it is. And that is the qualifier for this whole program, right? Is it takes time to work through the IRS. It's a pain in the butt. You're talking the regular tax forms, and I'll come back to this idea too, but the tax code is over 70,000 pages. This is an additional like almost 300 pages, 260 or something like that on top of that. And you have to file paperwork, as far as I understand, for every employee that you're claiming, and you have to file it for those employees in 2020 as well as 2021, and it's an amended return and everything else. So it really is a pain in the butt for a lot of people to have to, go through all of that work in order to be able to get this filled out. So it just makes sense for them to do it this way and have someone do it for them. So, but yeah, I don't know what the time frame is, whatever the IRS does. So it's a good question. Griffin, do you have a question too?
Yeah, and it has to be W-2 employees, right? I mean,
It is W-2. So if it's 1099 or something like that, it doesn't qualify. This is a
But-
payroll credit.
Okay, when you talk about restaurants, most restaurants, when I guess the managers and whatnot are W-2s, because I know a lot of restaurant
Mhm.
owners here in San Diego.
Mhm.
So it's just more going to be their managers, not really their staff.
So, okay, first off, that's a question for the CPAs. There are questions that are always going to be above our pay grade. I used to be a server. My very first job when I got hired was working at a Denny's many, many years ago, making $2.13 an hour plus tips. But at making $2.13 an hour, you're still, I believe, a W-2 employee. You just get a special wage because you have a wage that incorporates also getting tips. And they're supposed to report their tips, because if they don't get a certain amount that hits them at that threshold, then the company is supposed to pay them more or whatnot. So we're finding restaurants work really well. Again, the gal I talked about who got her aunt who runs a restaurant, she got her like 1.2 or 1.5 million, I don't remember what the number was, but it was over $1 million for her restaurant, right? Restaurants were great, and restaurants are really good candidates too, because they were all affected by the pandemic. People just stopped going, right? Because 2 weeks to slow the spread, 2 months to slow the spread, 2 years to slow the spread, whatever it was, right? And I'm not here to get political. And so I know that they qualify. I don't know the finer ins and outs because I'm not a CPA. Again, full disclosure, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA. I'm a guy that runs a marketing company that sees the opportunity. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And now I'm also a recruiter for the company, right? But they're definitely qualified. They're definitely qualified for this. I don't know exactly how that works out. And it may mean they get slightly less per employee. Maybe they get more. I have no idea, right? But I know that they qualify, and we've had a lot of success working with restaurants because they're a very natural fit for this program, apparently. So that's a good question, though. All right. So if we're going to do cold outreach, what I recommend is my non-sales script combined with this service here, which is called Federal Pay. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story. I know at least one of you has heard the story already, but I'm going to tell you a story. When I graduated from college some 20 years ago, my very first job was doing telesales. And the job I was doing telesales for was a phone company called Quest Communications. Some of you guys may work where Quest is or live where Quest is. They're actually not in Kansas at all. I worked for 3 different call centers in my day, and 2 of the 3 sold for Quest, and they don't operate in Kansas at all. And I think it's because they really tick off their customers. And so they don't want people who are upset at their phone company representing them on the phone. That's my theory anyway. Anyway, I was the number 1 seller on the floor for 6 months. And the reason I was the number 1 seller, I've got a good cadence to my voice. I've got a good voice and face for radio, right? But it's not because I'm an amazing sales guy. At the end of the day, it's because I knew how to get people to shut up and listen. And so what we were selling way back in the early 2000s was a phone plan that was about $35 a month. And it came with amazing features for your home phone line that's, connected to the wall, like caller ID and 3-way calling and 6-second billing, on the long distance and whatnot, right? And everyone else did the stupid sales script. And the stupid sales script was something like this. Hi, hi, Scott. My name is Justin West. I'm calling on behalf of Quest. We're your local phone service provider. We have a special offer we'd like to talk to you about today. Click. Right. Because nobody wants to hear that. People get annoyed at sales pitches, and they were at their height. Telephone sales pitches were in their height back in the early 2000s. But the company gave us what I called the Holy Grail. And the Holy Grail was just a stupid Xerox piece of paper. And that stupid Xerox piece of paper it didn't tell us what the customers were paying, but it told us what the average customer in an area was paying. So in some of the states, the average price was $22 or $25 a month. So this was like a $10, $13 upcharge. I would just give them the stupid script as well because I didn't really care. But in some states, the customer was paying $45 or $55 for their phone service. And for whatever reason, Quest didn't care. They wanted everyone on this new plan. They're like, no, go after these people, get them on the plan. Okay. So whenever I found one of those states on the auto dialer that I was calling, I would simply lead with this. Hey, Griffin. Hey, Josh. My name is Justin West, and I'm with Quest, your local phone service provider. I think you're overpaying on your bill. Do you got a minute? And they would be like, wait, what? And they would shut up and they would listen. And then I could just give them the pitch. And then they would self-sort. Some would say yes, some would say no. But what made it work was just I knew how to get people to shut up and listen. I had a hook, and that hook got them at least a little interested in what it was I was about to say. So what I teach you guys to do in cold outreach, and there's still multiple ways you can do it. You can do cold calling, you can do LinkedIn, I actually shoot videos for people using that Loom software that you guys saw when I sent you the video that you viewed that led you here, right? I sent you a Loom video with a little link in the upper right corner, and then you booked a time to be on this call, right? So there's lots of ways to do that. But what this particular platform does is it allows you to have what feels like knowledge you shouldn't have about people who are probably more than qualified. So this is a database of about 11.5 million businesses that took out PPP loans. PPP was the Paycheck Protection Program, and there were 2 rounds of PPP that went out. One of them was in 2020, one of them was in 2021. And when people initially took out their PPP loans, they were told that they did not qualify for ERC. You could either take ERC, which is the Employee Retention Credit, or you could take PPP. Now, back at the end of last year, or maybe even the summer, I don't know when the change actually happened, but they changed it so that all of a sudden, I think that was actually this summer that the change happened. All of a sudden, companies that took out PPP were now eligible for ERC, but most of them don't know that this is the case, right? And so what we're doing is we're finding businesses that have a need, that raised their hand and even said, hey, Mr. Government, Uncle Sam, I'm having a hard time making ends meet, right? I need help paying my employees. And we're able to get in front of them with knowledge we shouldn't have. So I'm going to look, somebody give me a zip code. Tell me where you are. Oh, my whole session expired. Let me refresh this here. Okay. Or you know what? We'll just do this. I'll just take this zip code down here in Red Bay, Alabama. We're going to paste it in and we're going to hit search. Okay. And so this is a list of businesses just in the zip code. Now you can look up any zip code you want. You're not limited to a geographical area. Obviously, it needs to be in the United States. And so here is a company called Generations of Red Bay, LLC. They're an assisted living facility with 72 people, right? Here is Page Clearing Incorporated. They're a site preparation contractor. They've got somewhere between 14 and 15 employees, and it looks like they actually took out 2 different PPP loans. There's another one, Moving Iron Incorporated. They took out 2 different PPP loans. And so when you click on one of these, it's going to allow you to go in there and take a look. So let's look up Cash in Thermoplastics, right? And we come in here and we see they took out 2 PPP loans. One of them was for about $150,000 and one of them was for $150,015. And if we scroll down, you can see that this one was in April of 2020. It was paid in full. It was through Valley State Bank. You even have the loan number right here. This one was also through Valley State Bank. You have the loan number right here, also paid in full. That was in February. That was Valentine's Day when it was approved of this last year. So this allows you to go into a business owner and have a conversation with them and simply say something along these lines. And here's where my script comes in, and it's a non-sales script. So you come in to a business owner and his name is, Keith, let's just say. And I say, Keith, my name is Justin West. I'm with National ERC. This is not a sales call. This is a courtesy call. I'm calling you because you took out a couple of PPP loans for $150,000. That was through, what did I say, Valley State Bank the other day, last year in 2020 and 2021. And it looks like you paid those back. Congratulations on that. And I'm really excited for you that you were able to do that and take care of your employees. But with, what did we say here? 20 employees, let's just say. With 20 employees, I don't know if you know this or not, but my records don't show if you took out the ERC credit or not. But if you didn't take out that ERC credit, you're actually leaving about $300,000 on the table right now. And you probably didn't take it out because most people, when they took out PPP, were told that they didn't qualify. Did you ever take out that ERC credit? Because this is just right now, this is a courtesy call. I just want them to know that this is even a thing. Because again, I have a heart for small business. I want them to know this is a thing. Whether they work with me or not, I have a heart. I'm a libertarian at heart. I care about small businesses. I think that the backbone of a thriving economic society, right? So I'm just here to inform them. And then when they usually the first question is, well, hang on, what is ERC? Or I don't think I qualified, right? And then you can talk about it a little bit more, right? ERC is the Employee Retention Credit. It's a retroactive credit owed you by the IRS for 2020 and 2021's tax years. It's provided by the CARES Act. Unlike the PPP loan, it doesn't need to be paid back. It's pure stimulus. You can invest it however you want, but the program is done in less than 2 years. And when the money's gone, the money's gone. So if you don't apply now, you're not going to get it. all I need is 10 minutes of your time or 15 minutes of your time to fill out some form and start the process of getting onboarded. Do you have 15 minutes now, or should I call back on Thursday? Right. And then you're going to have a little bit of back and forth and a little bit of discussion, but it really is that simple. You're simply explaining the basis of the program, letting them know roughly what they could be qualified for, and then onboarding them through the process, right? And you can always say, include it in the wording of the scripting in a couple places. There's no fee unless we are successful in getting it. So there's no cost to apply with us, right? And before they sign all the paperwork, they're going to understand fully that there's a success fee. Just like, and I gave you guys all this example, the injury attorney example, right? Injury attorneys keep a third of whatever they win, but that gives them a vested interest in making sure they get you the most amount of money. We have a success fee as well, but we make sure they keep at least 80% of the money. They keep exactly 80% of the money, but at least 80% sounds like a bigger number than exactly 80%. So they keep most of the money, the vast majority of the money, but we have to pay for our attorneys, our CPAs, our marketing team, which is you guys, so on and so forth, right? And so that's really it. And most business owners get that. Most business owners don't care. You're telling them with a couple of quick document uploads, you're going to take care of all of the things, and you're going to bring them a check for potentially, close to $300,000, all things considered. They're happy to do that because they're used to paying people to take care of stuff for them, right? And that's really it. Now, the only objections you're going to hit, there's really 4 things you're going to run into in this, as far as I've encountered personally. One of those is, I already got my ERC. And again, roughly 10% of the businesses right now have done that, right? In that case, you shake their hand. Congratulations, Mr. Business Owner. You're an intelligent person. Good job. I'm proud of you. Have a good day. Number 2, who the heck are you? How'd you get my number? Why do you have this information? I don't know you from Adam. You're some random guy that's calling me or Zooming me or whatever. Go away. In which case, if you do sales, you get that. That happens. But then the other 2 that you're going to hit is just, can I do this myself, or can't my CPA do this for me? Right. And I have rebuttals for those already written out in the script, but they're very, very simple and they're very, very intuitive. Can I do this myself? Is just this. Of course you can do it yourself, right? You can also file your own taxes, but do you? No business owner that I know files their own taxes, because if they do it wrong, they're going to wind up overpaying to the government, or they're going to wind up in trouble with the government. And nobody wants either of those solutions, right? So they pay someone to do it. Also, if a business were to file it for themselves, they might get, let's say, $100,000, and they're going to pat themselves on the back and feel really good that they got $100,000 they never have to pay back to the government, right? But what happens if they find out later they left 300,000 or 800,000 on the table, right? They could be leaving 50, 60, 70, 80% of that money on the table because they don't claim it right. ERC Nationwide specializes in doing one thing and doing it well, which is getting the maximum amount allowable by law of this ERC credit for our customers. All I need is 15 minutes of your time. Do you have time today, or should I call back on Thursday? Right? Well, can't my CPA do this? Of course your CPA could do it, right? But first off, why haven't they already? This is a limited time program. And although $400 billion is a lot of money, that money isn't going to be around forever. And the program closes in under 2 years. We found as many as 60% of CPAs don't even realize that if you took PPP, you can still qualify for ERC. I don't know why they have this knowledge lag, but there's a knowledge lag there. Also, the tax law is 70,000 pages. You guys heard me say this earlier. This is an additional 200 pages. And if they don't specialize in it, they might claim it incorrectly. And again, leave a lot of money on the table, right? And also your CPA, they get paid a flat rate no matter what they get you, right? So they don't have a vested interest in making sure they're getting you the max amount of money. Again, they might get you $100,000 and you might be patting them on the back because they got you $100,000 you never have to pay back. But if they left 800 grand on the table or whatever the number happens to be down the road, you're going to be very upset, right? And again, this also represents hundreds of pages of paperwork that has to be manually filed with the IRS. And that's very time consuming. Most CPAs have dozens, if not even hundreds of business clients. They don't have time to file all of this paperwork for their clients. It's just as they say, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? It's a massive time suck, energy suck, focus suck that they simply don't have. And this is what we specialize in. And all I need to get started is about 15 minutes of your time. Do you have time today, or how about next week? That's it. Those are the only objections I've ever really encountered, other than I've already got it, right? And that's a very, very rare one. Having said all that, what questions do you guys have so far?
How many other companies are doing this? Are you guys the only ones?
We are not the only ones, but we're the only ones I know of that make it so that you can get a piece of the pie. I've seen one other company that does it, and they'll give you $1,000 referral credit that's capped if you submit business to them, and they work on the same basic premise, but that's not a lot of money and not really worth the time, right? But if you can get 4% of whatever the deal is, now it's worth the time, so I wouldn't work with any of those other companies. I do know that there are other companies out there. I have seen and heard a few advertisements. Right now, again, we're still at we're at the early adoption phase, right? I don't want to get over hypey and over salesy, but 9 out of 10 businesses don't know this is a thing. I can almost guarantee you, over the Christmas break, over the holiday break, you're going to see a ton of advertisements start up for this. I actually was, I listened to a couple of political podcasts, and I lean conservative. We don't need to get into politics here. I lean on the conservative side of things. Again, I'm libertarian, small business minded, right? And I'm listening to these podcasts. I'm like, I should totally talk to these, because the people that listen to these podcasts tend to be business owners, people I'd want to get in front of. I should totally get a spot on this podcast and get an ad. And like the next day on that podcast I was listening to, all of a sudden I heard them bring on a guest to talk about the ERC credit and how it can be worth between $10,000 and $26,000. And if you want this, you should reach out to them. What I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed my chance. Obviously I didn't miss my chance, and I might still reach out to a handful of people and do kind of a sponsorship opportunity or whatnot. But you're going to start seeing this a lot more, because there is anytime there's an opportunity where there's money to be made, people are going to go where that money is, right? That's just how it is. And so you want to make hay while the sun is shining, right? Strike while the iron is hot. This really is the best time to do this. I don't know how many businesses there are. There will be more businesses and whatnot. But right now, what we're encountering is the market is way undersaturated, and it's all blue ocean. There's not enough people, and there's so many businesses, even just in this list, with millions and millions of businesses. And again, every business, probably 80% of businesses probably qualify. So you don't have to go to this list, but this list gives you that hook, right? It gives you that data. So you're able to call and talk to them like more than you should know, right? Why do you know this information? Why do you know I got 2 loans for exactly $800,269 from Wells Fargo? Why do you have this data? Are you some official government person or whatnot? And you're not. Don't misrepresent yourself, right? But you're still able to get them to shut up and to listen. Eva, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so earlier, right on the screen that we see here, it's federal pay. So I went to the federalpay.org, and I don't see anywhere, as I'm scrolling through this website, where I can actually go and search for this screen that you have there.
It's up here on the top where it says PPP loan data. If you're on your phone, you may not be able to see it because it's truncated. So, but it's there. I'll give you the link. It's in the link. So I have a training document that I give everyone who becomes an affiliate, and that link is in there. And I actually show you other things you can do, right? So we have people that are shooting those Loom videos, like a 1-minute Loom video where you talk to a business owner. So, hey, Eva, my name is Justin West, and I have a really quick video question for you. I saw you guys took out a couple of PPP loans there for Valley State Bank, through Valley State Bank. Looks like both those were paid in full, and that's awesome. Congratulations. But I wanted to make sure you knew that you probably qualify for almost double the amount that you took out in both those loans, or like 300,000 total in ERC. But I don't show that you've claimed that ERC credit yet. And you probably were told you didn't qualify because when you took out those loans, you didn't, but you do now. I can help you get that money, and there's no cost to start working with me. All I need is 15 minutes of your time. Book in the link in the upper right corner, right? We have guys that are sending out a 1-minute message like that and booking multiple appointments a day. I haven't done much of that, only because I've spent all day, every week, every day this week, booked solid, talking with people as a recruiter, which is why I moved into the Zoom calls, because I haven't had time to do this myself, which is killing me, right? But I see the value in it, and I'm happy to help people get on board. So this is a free site. So full disclosure, again, all of this information is publicly available information. This is available through a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. You can download the entirety of these spreadsheets. It's like, I think it's like 7 terabytes of data, but it exists. You can download it if you want. This site is a very handy free site that simply makes it available to you in a very, simple to use fashion. Way easier than using the spreadsheets. I've downloaded the spreadsheets and they're terrible. Well, they're giant and they're huge and they're slow and they clog up your machine and everything else, right? This is very, very useful. If you decide to become an affiliate, if you decide to, you close a deal through this, I'm going to encourage you, and I am in no way affiliated with this site. Come up here and donate $10 to this guy, right? Buy him a coffee for putting him with this, or gal, for putting this information together, because this really is this is a gold mine. This really is a gold mine of opportunities. And it tells you, right, just who it is and everything else. And inside of my training document, I do show you how to get a hold of the business owner, how to figure out who owns it, how to get their exact email address, generally, sometimes how to get their phone number so you can call them directly. And some of this is going to be cold calling, right? So if you know the business owner, but you don't know the direct line, you still have to call up and say, hey, it's Frank in, right? Oh, this is Justin. I'm with National ERC. This is about their PPP loan, right? And you go from there and you just kind of work your way through. You guys are smart enough to do this. All of you guys have sales backgrounds. So you understand the gist of how to do this, right? But I am here. Full disclosure, again, as a recruiter, you guys get 4% of any business deal that you submit. I get 1% of any deal that you submit. So I have a vested monetary interest in making sure you are as productive as possible. So I am dedicated to making sure I'm giving you the methods that are working best in the field right now, because this whole conversation we're having is a waste of time for all of us if you're not eventually on board and and producing. Now, some of you are just going to say, I'm not interested, or some of you will come on, kick the tires and never do anything. And that's fine. You know, anyone that's done sales, anyone that's been a sales manager, you understand that that's just how it is sometimes. Some people just don't work out. But for those of you who understand this, this is probably your best shot at making $1 million, at least for the next 600 days. Right? There is so much money, and you're literally getting paid to give away free money to people who don't realize that they even qualify for it, people that need it, people that are still struggling. Because in case you haven't paid attention, and again, I'm not going to get political, but the economy has been tanking for quite some time. So this money can literally be a lifeline for businesses, knowing that this money is coming in. And then once it's accepted by the IRS and they get that money, even if it hasn't come yet, I think it's even something they can theoretically borrow against, right? I've got money coming. You talk to somebody about that and they can come in. This is outside my wheelhouse. I've heard somebody talk about this on the side. So don't take that as legal advice. Yes, Eve.
So we've had during that 15-minute call, we tried to estimate or determine whether they're possibly going to qualify. We don't know if they're going to qualify, possibly if they're going to qualify for this. After that 15-minute call, what happens next?
So once you fill out this form, so again, this is an intake form over here, right? And again, if you've ever taken out a loan or filled out a form online, because I'm trying to think of other businesses do this. I mean, even a dentist, right? A dentist is like, hello, my name is Justin West, and I live in Atchison, Kansas, and I'm looking for a dentist that can do this sort of service. Click send, and then eventually they reach out to me and book a time or whatever it happens to be. Chiropractor, loan officer, mortgage company, they all work the same way. Some forms are long, some forms are short. ERC Nationwide is the company, and they have a whole back end of salespeople that make sure that they're reaching out to these people, because there will be some people that land on this page just by default, right? There will be some people that land on this page because they do a Google search and this company happens to come up, right? And so if somebody fills out the form, they want to make sure they're following with that person, because that person is worth many thousands of dollars. So they have a sales team on the back end just to make sure that these people are actually submitting their information. They'll send them emails, they'll send them phone calls and everything else. Once the company has submitted their documents to ERC Nationwide, which is the payroll documents, their tax forms, whatever else they need. Again, I'm not a CPA. I can tell you the general gist of what they need. Then the CPAs, the attorneys, and everyone else at ERC Nationwide goes to work, make sure that they actually are qualified, make sure that they actually are going to get the thing, fill out the paperwork, send it back to the company, explain that they're going to send this form off to the IRS. They have to sign that ERC Nationwide can represent them, right? They have to sign for the escrow and everything else. And then we send it off to the IRS. And then the IRS gets it, and they eventually get to it. And they look through it and they say, yeah, this is legit. And then they process it and they cut a check and they send it to either the business, or because they're working with us, they send it to us via escrow, and then we send it to the business. But that's it. Your job is 2 conversations, really. And sometimes they become one, right? And conversation 1 is, hi, Mr. Business Owner, I think you qualify for $800,000. I need about 10 minutes of your time. And then, or 15 minutes of your time. And then conversation 2 is, all right, now that I got 15 minutes of your time, let's make sure you're qualified. Your name is Bob Smith. This is your company. This is your title. This is your email. This is roughly how many employees you had in 2020 and 2022. There's a lot of businesses that have, 56 employees, right? Now you're looking at an $800,000 credit, right? And again, you get 4% of whatever you submit. So in this particular example, if it's 870,000, now again, full disclosure, and this is my favorite phrase to say is full disclosure, right? This is an estimate, and it even says down here, this is only an estimate based off employee counts. It does not represent a guarantee of the credit you're going to get, because that's just how it is, right? If an employee starts mid-year, I don't think they get the full credit. If they ended, if they were there from like Q4 of 2020 through Q3 of 2021, they'll get like part of the credit in 2020 and part of the credit in 2021 for that particular employee. And it's on an employee by employee basis, right? But generally this number is an eyeball, because this is already an estimate, because the number could actually be higher or lower than this. This is based on about $15,000, which is the middle of the road level that we get for companies, between $10,000 and $26,000 that they could get. And so your cut of this particular company could be around $34,000, depending, again, on all of the other things that are outside and above my pay grade. Does that make sense? Good. All right. What are the questions we got? Anything? So everyone just
so we can get started as soon as we fill out the W-9.
Yep.
And then once you get that information, you'll send us this.
Yep.
The scripts and all the goodies.
Yep. So in the chat box, I just put down signup.nationalerc.org. Full disclosure, my favorite phrase. I run this particular website, nationalerc.org. This is not ERC Nationwide. I'm a web guy. I do digital marketing. So to make my life easier, I actually just purchased nationalerc.org. And that URL forwards to my affiliate link. But I actually also can send out emails and stuff. I have Justin at nationalerc.org. One of the things I'm doing, because again, I have a vested interest in making sure you guys are as successful as possible. If you decide that you want to work with me, I'm actually happy to do, and I put it in here because I want you guys to understand a couple of different things and to have the best shot at success. I will give you an email address if you want. So if you want Griffin or G Bentley or GB at nationalerc.org, all you got to do is reach out to me and let me know, and I will set you up with that email. And I can even set you up with a forwarding link. So you could have gb@nationalerc.org. And that would forward to your affiliate link once you have your affiliate link. And that way you have an easier way, because giving someone this link, ERC Nationwide $FPR equals Bob Smith, or, if it's the basic, it's like 82769 whatever, right? That's an obnoxious thing. That's why the QR code works so well, because it takes you to this page, but you don't have to get someone to type in the awkward part after the slash, right? So one of the things and I actually just realized I could do the subdomains for you guys. If somebody wants, I'm happy to give you a subdomain that you can point towards your link, which just allows you to look a little bit more official, right? So those are the things that you can do. But yeah, you can start on this today. There's nothing stopping you from signing up, and the link's in the description, signup.nationalerc.org. Again, that takes you to this affiliate page. Do your due diligence, read the terms and conditions, right? But once you become an affiliate, you got me on the back end dedicated to your success. All of you guys are connected to me on LinkedIn. We all had a conversation on LinkedIn. So you know how to reach me on there. I've been in business myself, again, for over a decade, doing my own thing. I take what I do very, very seriously. I like to think I'm a very honest, upright, transparent fella. So if you have any questions, if you need any help, you can reach out to me. And in fact, I even put on the back end here of this document that I'll give you guys, I put a link to my calendar. So if you have a need, where is it? It's right here. If you have a need for like a 10-minute training call, or you're running into a problem and you just don't know how to overcome it, you can book 10 minutes on my calendar and I'll work with you to help you overcome something. But you can also just send me a quick email via LinkedIn and I'll shoot you one of those little Loom videos. Loom, by the way, is a free service and I love them to death. I've been using them for almost 8 years. They used to be called Open Test. It's that video software that I use. And I was their #1 user the first year they were open. They were still in beta. And I shot over like 2,500, maybe 3,000 videos with them. And I love it because it is just a little Chrome extension that lives right up here. You click go. I don't know if it'll work right now because I'm using my camera. And it just records your screen, and it records it in like 3 seconds. And like you talk and you do your thing, it'll jump around to different tabs. If you're recording the different tabs, play with it a little bit. And when you're done, you just click stop. And when you click stop, it's already live. You don't have to like stop. I've used other softwares like this. I actually have 2 or 3 others that I've purchased lifetime memberships with, in fact, but I still use Loom on a regular basis because it's live instantly. And when somebody watches the video, if it's a custom video for them, it'll give you notification. The so-and-so video, so the video for Scott Holm has been watched. The video for Griffin Bentley has been watched. I'm like, oh, now's a good time to follow up with this person. So if you're sending a video to a business owner, you can title it Bob Smith, well done catering Inc. ERC credit. And then when he watches it, you'll get an email and you can actually follow up with it. So, and that's a free service as well. The free version lets you shoot like 5-minute videos, just like the free version of Zoom and Loom, I just realized they run, lets you do like 40-minute long conversations, but that's all you need. Like the onboarding form is a 15-minute process. So even if you shoot the breeze for 10 minutes or even 15 minutes, you still got buffer time in there. You don't need to have a paid Zoom account. You don't need to have a paid Loom account. I use paid versions of both because I'm a marketer by trade. I do this regularly for my regular clients. I'm reaching out to attorneys and stuff all the time, right? So that's what I do, and I'm very happy with that. But I'm going to give you guys every resource I have that can help you be successful.
So you're sending these videos to the recipient's email.
Yep.
Okay.
So if I know that Well Done Catering, let's just do a quick search here. I'll show you what I do. I have never looked this company up before. Well Done Catering. Let's just look them up in Google, right? And so we'll take a look here and see if we can figure out if it's a real company or not. Sometimes it's like a front or something like that. So it looks like they got a website. Well Done. It's a clever name, right? Corporate weddings, social, etc. And then we'll come around and we'll see if we can find a contact information. There's multiple places you can find contact information, and I basically teach you how to do this. So there's info at Well Done, but we don't want to email info at Well Done because that's just going to go to their back end. I don't have all my plugins and stuff installed, but you can basically then take this, put it into Google, put it in quotes with the @ sign. So @welldone.com. That's not going to work because of the slashes in here. And then just put like email in here, right? So email owner. and just see what Google shows up, because you will oftentimes find, and sometimes you can't, sometimes they have something else that's totally different. I'll show you otherwise. So right here, I already see Steve Dunn is the guy that runs Well Done Catering, and his email looks like it's S something, something, something at Well Done. So now I can just start kind of playing around. It'll take me all of like 2 minutes, and I can find Steve's direct email, and I can get an email that lands right in his inbox. Says, Steve, you're missing out on $300,000. Let me help you get that, right? Or you can find whatever wording you want to use, right? And I teach you guys how to do that. I've been doing this for years. That's how I make my money, getting into people's inboxes so I can tell them what I can do for them. And it's just a numbers game at that point. A percentage say yes, a percentage say no. But if I can get him to shut up and watch this video, show that I have knowledge about him, and show him that he's leaving money on the table, there's a good chance he's going to want to work with me. And that's it.
You've mentioned training several times, and obviously it's not worth your time to train us individually. So are you going to be hosting some training Zooms anytime soon?
I am. I haven't set a time for those yet, but when you guys come on, I get access to your emails and everything else. I'm going to put you guys all on an email list, and I'm just going to probably email like, once a week or twice a week. We'll do like a 1 hour training session. I'm totally on board with doing that because I want to make sure you guys are successful as possible. Honestly, I don't think most people need a super long training session. And again, you can always grab a one-on-one time with me, but I am very happy to do a training session or like a smile and dial session where we all just kind of sit down via Zoom or something, and then on our own, we're doing work and check in, and oh, I hit this problem. What do I do about this or whatnot? Like, I'm happy to do that for people if they think they need it. A lot of people I'm talking to have 30, 40 years of sales call experience, and like, I don't know, I don't care. I'm good. I don't need, I don't need that information, right? I don't need the training. I'm good. I got it. And that's you. That's fine. But if for people who want training, I am happy to give you that training if it's something that you think you need. So, again, do as you see fit. I'm happy to put it on. I need to look at my schedule and see what time makes sense. Like maybe like Monday afternoons at 2 p.m. or something like that, or Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. Central Time, or something like that. We do like a half-hour training or something. I'm happy to do that. For most people, this document is sufficient because it really gives you everything you need. I've got the sales script in here that works really well for me. Again, it's a script that's designed to get them just to shut up and to listen and to entice them with a hook. I've got your rebuttals in here, and you guys are all, I think, most of you are seasoned professionals. You understand how to do that, right? I walk you through the LinkedIn Loom process, so you can reach out to people on LinkedIn just with a message, or you can shoot them a video. And Loom is really cool because it incorporates into regular messages on LinkedIn, and so it shows you that little preview, and you can actually see, like, you can be on their webpage, and people, the more customized you are in your marketing and sales outreach, the more likely people are to respond. This is something I know just for a fact in general. So if I'm like, hey, come get money here, you could be owed as much as 10, that's one thing. But if I'm like, Mike, or what is his name? Steve, Well Done Catering looks like they're owed $300,000. I don't think you claimed that yet, because when you took out that PPP loan, they probably told you you don't qualify. So let's get that money for you. I need 15 minutes of your time. Book with me here. Here's my Calendly link. Here's my, I use a service called Book Like a Boss, but you can use whatever you want, right? And again, that's what I recommend you do. So if you're running paid ads, you put them into a very simple site that says you're probably owed this much. Book with me here. I have this platform here that allows me to do this simple little calculator. There's free tools out there that let you type form is one of them. Paper form is another one that I'm using that let you do like a simple little calculator and then book a time with me. You can even put them on. I think Google Sheets can do it. I'm not a Google Sheets master, but I think you can even do that with Google Sheets, right? So there's lots of ways to do that. And again, that's where the money is, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that simply don't have the knowledge or know how to do that. And those who do, half of them are too afraid to pick up the stupid phone and talk to people. But I put this in such a way that you're not even making a sales call. You're simply making a consultation. And honestly, if you put yourself in that position, again, I'm not going to be all political, but I have a heart. I'm a libertarian at heart, and I have a heart for small business. I run a small business. It's how I feed. I'm married. I've got 5 kids. That's how I feed my family. It's how I paid for my house in the midst of economic downturn, right? I have a heart for working with small businesses because I think that I've always been anti-Walmart, right? Because they come in and they shut down the small businesses, and then they leave the town. They go just outside the county line or the city line, and so they don't have to pay taxes. Like, this is the thing that Walmart's known to do. So I've been one of those people that pushes back on Walmart for years and years, and I do it because I have a heart for small business. So when I saw this lined up for me personally very naturally with my own interests. My own interests are helping small businesses to grow and to thrive. And this program allows me to do that while also making income for myself in a meaningful way, which is why I don't have a problem. If I talk to 30 businesses and 3 of them are like, oh, I didn't know I could do that, I'll talk to my CPA. You know what? Good for you. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that they get you the most amount of money. you're welcome to work with me if you want. You know, we guarantee the maximum amount, but whatever. I'm happy for you. I hope you get the money, and I hope that your business survives and thrives, because that's what I have a heart to do, right? And so it makes it easy to pick up the phone and smile and dial, because you're not even doing a sales call. You're not trying to talk them into, you know, I need you to give me $5,000 a month. That's what I do in my regular business, right? I've got customers that pay me, you know, 12 grand a month for doing SEO work and stuff like that for them. And that's hard sales. That's a lot of money. But if, you know, you're an injury attorney or whatnot, they've got the money. One of their clients is worth a ton of money for them. So they're very, very happy to pay that much money. But in this situation, you're literally getting paid to give free money. And I've never seen anything like that. And I don't think anything like that's going to happen again anytime soon, unless the government passes a new round of stimulus next year, in which case I'll see y'all again in, you know, I'll see y'all again in 2023, right? We'll keep doing this. But that's the gist. I see Hank just joined a little bit ago. Hank, I'm sorry. I think you got in late on the call. It was supposed to be 1 Central. If you want to stick around a little bit afterwards, I can answer any questions you have as well. But yeah, you're at the tail end of the call here. What are the questions you guys got though?
So so one of the qualifyings from what I heard or talked about with somebody else is that these companies cannot be profitable, correct? If they were profitable in 2020 and 2021, 2022, is that?
No, they need to have had a reduction in revenue. That's it. They could still have been profitable. Yeah.
Okay,
And what it is, I think it's if you made at least 80% of what you made. So 2019 was the height of the Trump boom. I don't care how you feel about the orange man. The economy was great under him, right? And so what they're looking at is at the peak of the economy, right before everything tanked because of COVID, how are you doing? And then in that same quarter of 2020 and 2021, how were you doing? And at what point did you get back to at least 80% of your revenue and stuff like that? So that's what they're looking at. Now, if a business's profit margins are, they're running on a 10% profit margin and they were, you know, operating at, you know, 60% revenue or whatever, then yeah, they were losing money. You know, they really were. But that's not a requirement. And you can actually qualify one of 3 different ways. Again, revenue reduction is one of them, but not the only one. Also service reduction. So again, if you were a restaurant, you had to close down tables. If you were a contractor and nobody would hire you, you know, there's lots of different reasons that people would have that. And also supply chain issues. So if you had supply chain issues, you couldn't get things that you needed to do your business. That's another way you can qualify. And this system here, this little form here walks them through that process. And it, again, this is just an intake form, but it gives the company, there's somebody else joining. This must have been people that thought the thing was an hour after it was, but that's okay. This would have been people that sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What was I saying? So the form is just an intake form, right? And this is a sorting mechanism for ERC Nationwide at the end of the day. So your job, you are a professional sorter. That's all you are. You're a professional inviter and a professional sorter. And that's all you really need to do. That's all you need to be focused on. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be successful, because it's just a numbers game, as sales is in general. But this is a stupidly easy sale because you're asking for no money up front. You're basically offering them free money and getting the maximum amount they can get. And then you can look around on the website here when you get your link and whatnot, and go to ERC Nationwide. They've got audit protection if you get audited, which if you get audited, it's your own fault because it's from your own documents. We're just submitting your documents for you, right? But if they get audited, we'll give them all the backup support and everything they need and whatnot. And so again, there's just nothing out there really like this. So if you guys are interested, go to signup.nationalerc.org, which is that link I put in the description. Fill it out. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let me know, hey, I'm in. I'll see you on the back end on my recruiter platform, but let me know ASAP. I'll get you access to the document. And then again, if you guys have questions, if you want to book a time to talk with me or have a strategy session, I'm happy to work with you. Because again, as a recruiter, I get 1% of whatever business you submit. I have a vested interest, just like ERC Nationwide has a vested interest in getting the most amount of money for their clients. I have a vested interest in making sure you are as successful as possible. And so you've got me dedicated to your success, because if you guys are successful, we all win at the end of the day, and small businesses win. Again, this lines up perfectly with my own ideology. So I'm happy to do this, right?
So one more question. After we get them to fill out this form, when will they find out if they qualify?
Once they fill out the form, ERC Nationwide takes over on the back end, and they need a couple things from the company. In fact, the very last page that you fill out in the form, what it's going to do is it's going to say, also, do you have a payroll person? Put their email here, we'll reach out to them, and you click submit, and then it's going to say, okay, so your estimated return, your estimated ERC for 2020 is X amount. Your estimated return for 2021 is X amount. This totals due this much money. This is, of course, dependent upon all these other circumstances. In order to finalize that, we need your documents. Please check your email for the secure platform link that you can upload your documents to. We can cannot get the ball rolling on this until we get that. Please get that submitted within 24 hours. I encourage you guys to say the same thing. Please get those documents uploaded within 24 hours so we get the ball rolling on this, because the IRS takes forever anyway. And the longer you take, the longer it's going to take to get the money for you. The line could be, and you overestimate with them, right? The line could be 6 months long right now. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But tell them that. And that way, if we get it done in 4 or whatever, they're happy, right? Because then the money came sooner than they were expecting. But if they wait on this and the line,
No,
I don't know.
I get that, but like, how long will they know until they're actually qualified before?
Within
they
3 weeks, probably within
3
3 weeks, because that's how long it takes ERC Nationwide to process their forms. And if ERC Nationwide sees that they're not going to qualify, like, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for reasons X, Y, and Z, right? And they have to go off the data that they get. They have to go off the actual tax data, the payroll data, and everything else that they get from the company. So they'll know pretty quickly if they don't qualify. But if they do qualify, or if it looks like they qualify, then they submit to the IRS. And I think 99% of what they submit to the IRS is legitimate, because again, they're CPAs and know what they're doing. They're claiming things. As long as the business is claiming things accurately, what we're doing with the business is going to go through just fine. It's a good question though. So is everyone clear on that, on how that works? The back end, again, your job is stupidly simple. Your job is a 5-minute conversation. Hey, Mr. Business Owner, I think you're owed some money. Let's get that money for you. Or Mrs. Business Owner, right? Whatever. And then, okay, well, let's get you qualified and get you in there. Let's do the onboarding process. And that's what I call this, is the onboarding process. Let's get you onboarded so that we can start the process of getting you that maximum ERC, which looks like it could be as much as $870,000, right? And that's what we're going to get for you. And again, there's no fee to use us until we're submitting for you. And once we're submitting for you, you're going to know exactly how this all breaks down. We do get a success fee, but it's contingent upon us getting you the maximum amount of money that you can get anyway. So let's get you started, maybe 15 minutes of your time. That's it.
And then you suggest that we go through the form and just put test everywhere?
I suggest you do it at least once, but again, on the back end, when I give you access to the training document, I already did this for you. And even I've gone through this multiple times and I still stumble over it. Sometimes when I'm going through, I'm like, wait, what is this asking me again? And I shot this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I was a little less clear on it than even I am now, like having gone through it multiple times. It sucks. It is a stupid, ugly, dumb form. And I've already written to management and said, you guys need to change this form. As a digital marketer by trade, your form sucks and you guys need to fix this. But until then, until that happens, it is what it is, right? And at the end of the day, it's an onboarding form for businesses to raise their hand to ERC Nationwide and say, hey, I'm interested in working with you guys. Here's my information. And then we give them the link and they give us their full information, their legal documents, and we take care of everything else. It's a concierge service. So ERC Nationwide is a concierge tax service. It's like any CPA is, right? You're a concierge affiliate. You're a concierge leading them through the process of getting their documents, getting their information into the system, and then encouraging them to get those documents done. Once they're signed up in the back end, you will see on the back end of the platform the business name, the owner, and the stuff that you've submitted, so you can actually follow up with them as well. But there's a status line, and it says where it is in the process. So you'll see these things going through, and you'll see some of them will get kicked back. It just happens, right? Someone like this one didn't qualify, but you'll see some that are in green, and it's like this one qualifies. Not only does it qualify, but it's going to be it's going to the IRS right now, right? It's in IRS or in queue, or now it's back in escrow, and then you get that text email says look out for your commission. At which point, make sure you got that W-9 filled out. Make sure you should have already had your payment system set up and all that stuff too. But yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. But the company, there's between 1 and 3 weeks to get the paperwork done. If it's a really big company, if they've got like 500 employees, it may take a little bit longer potentially, but you're talking still about 2 to 3 weeks max to get it done on ERC Nationwide's end, and then they submit it off. And again, we're looking at, for businesses, the sweet spot, in my personal opinion, having made these calls myself, the sweet spot is going to be between about 20 employees or so, 15 to 20 employees, on up to about 70 to 90 employees, somewhere in there. Because again, part of the issue is if they're really big, they probably have a CPA or someone that does that on staff all the time, who probably already, for better or worse, took care of it for them. Hopefully they got them the maximum amount. You never know. But also, the bigger the company, the harder it is oftentimes to get a hold of the decision maker. And so you've got to be able to get a hold of that decision maker. And in smaller companies, it's really easy to do. I would rather do 10 companies with 20 employees than one company with 100 employees, or go after them, because you're going to have an easier time getting those 10 smaller companies and talking to them. You're going to be more successful than the 100. Now the 100s, the juice is worth the squeeze. There's a lot there. Again, we had a guy that closed a $2.6 million deal, closed, got him submitted just like last week, I think it was. His name was Brian, Brett, Chris, whatever. It's up here. Yeah, Chris. And again, I put that in the document so you can watch it, right? It's nice to hear other people's success stories, right? Anastasia's story is a great success. Again, I've got a gal on my team that I help make business cards. So she can go door to door and give out her cards. I actually was like, you know what? I might do this and just take a day and drive into Kansas City because it's like an hour-long drive for me. So it's not really worth it to go down there on a regular basis, but I could go down there for an afternoon and just kind of walk door to door, get like some really fancy looking, like, spend $20 on some little square cards, and on the back have my QR code, on the front be like your maximum ERC allowable by law or something silly like that, where you're just having a conversation with people. And for some people, I'm an introvert by nature, but I don't mind talking when I know that I'm an expert in a field or I know more about stuff. I can teach stuff, which is why I can do these Zoom calls and not like panic or whatever. Going door to door for me is still kind of close to my uncomfort zone, but maybe it's good for me to do that, right? Maybe it's good for me to get out of my shell and actually do that. So, but yeah, anyway.
All right, Justin, thank you so much. I already signed up. Good luck,
Awesome.
everybody.
Awesome.
All right, thank
Well, I
you.
appreciate it. This is my official digital handshake with you there. Then Griffin, welcome aboard. And if anybody else signs up, reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know, and I'll send you access to the document, and we'll go from there. I'll stick around for a few more minutes. I've got a call starting that I got to be on with a client. Where's my calendar? Hang on. I got a call starting in the not too distant future, so I will have to end this call. But if anyone has any other questions, I am happy to stick around and answer questions. Again, at the end of the day, I'm not an attorney. I am not a CPA, so I don't have all of the questions that you can have. But I've done this enough, and I have an understanding of the stuff enough that I can answer most of your questions to a pretty sufficient nature. But I'm very happy to answer what I can answer for you and help you get onboarded. So if you have questions or whatnot, let me know, and we'll go from there. Josh and Hank, you guys came in late. So I'll redo the spiel really, really quickly for you guys, if you want, or if you have any questions over what I said, I can do that. At the end of the day, there's a link in the chat box, and it goes to signup.erc.nationwide or ERC, National ERC. I don't even know my own link is. You know what? Let me just copy and paste it right here. So what this program really is, at the end of the day, is an affiliate program. And that affiliate program allows you to get 4% of any business that you submit to this company, which is ERC Nationwide. If you decide you want to do this, you have me on the back end helping you out and doing what I can to facilitate you being as successful as possible. You will come to this page here, and it's going to ask you for some basic information: email, first name, last name, phone number, password. You'll want to agree to receive your notifications when you get a commission, and you will need to agree to the affiliate terms and conditions. Something I start the calls with, but I forgot to say this with you guys because you joined late. There's a disqualifier here. There's bad news here. And the bad news is we get paid at the speed of the IRS. And for some people, that's just a disqualifier, and I totally get that. That's totally fine if it is. Right now, you're going to get paid on about 15, 20 minutes worth of work. And that's just an onboarding call that you have with the company. It's setting up an onboarding call and having an onboarding call. That onboarding call is filling out the stupid form that takes about 15 minutes to do. It's not a hard work. It's not a hard gig. Once that happens, as you've already heard me say, it's about a 2 or 3 week time frame to get the paperwork in, get it submitted to the IRS. Once it's in the IRS's hands, it's up to the IRS. It takes as long as it takes for the IRS. And so if you are doing this, this is not the type of gig that's going to pay you next Friday. Okay. You got to be okay with that. You got to really internalize that we're working with government bureaucracy here. It's a real company. It's a real opportunity. The ERC is a real thing. There are people that I'm on track to make $1 million by tax day. Right. And my goal is to help everyone else here do the same thing. There's no reason you can't be stupidly successful in this, but if you need a job that's going to pay you by next Friday, this is not going to be that gig. Right. I run a successful marketing company actually. And I'm pausing what I'm doing in my own company to do this because the money is just so big right there. And again, you probably heard me say this, but it aligns with my own goals, which is helping small businesses anyway. So I'm very happy to just reach out to small businesses, have a conversation, and help them out. It's stupidly easy to do. Once you sign up, you will need to also agree to the terms of services. Again, full disclosure, I am not an attorney, so you will need to read through this. I'll tell you right now, I signed it no problem or clicked accept. It's just, as far as I can tell, your standard boilerplate affiliate agreements, but it's a legal document. So you do your due diligence, send it to your attorney, read it in triplicate, have your aunt read it, whatever it is you need to do, right? I filled it out just fine. Once you fill it out, it's going to take you to the back end of the platform. And on the back end of the platform, you're going to see, it's going to ask you for your payment information. This is not to make a payment. This is how you want to get paid. I recommend everyone just use PayPal because everyone probably already has a PayPal account anyway. You're also free to put in your bank account information if you want, but you don't know me. You don't know ERC Nationwide from Adam. And so PayPal kind of gives you a buffer that makes you feel a little more comfortable and secure. So just do that as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if PayPal takes a bigger cut. They might take like 1% or something of whatever you get. I don't remember. But for most people, PayPal works just fine. Once you've done that, you're going to get access to this link down here. Your link will look different. This is my demo account here, but this link will be, it's an affiliate link at the end of the day. And your job is just to get businesses to come and fill out this form. However, unlike most affiliate marketing, and I give this example early on in the call, if you've ever gone to a food blog, you'll notice that, you want a recipe. The recipe is always at the bottom of the page, buried under a mile of text. That mile of text is full of links to things like Amazon and companies like Blue Apron and wine shipping companies and whatnot. And they get a percentage of whatever business they generate to those companies. And so the food blog works by generating a lot of traffic, and a percentage of that traffic goes to the affiliates, and a percentage of that traffic that goes to the affiliates winds up converting and generating money, and they get a cut of that, right? So if you send money to Amazon, you get 4% of whatever it is that they sell. With ERC Nationwide, it works very similar, but you're getting 4% of a pie that's not a $100 Amazon purchase, but it's a $200,000 to $2 million tax credit that you're getting for a business. And so your job is just to guide people through the process. And I teach people to become an ERC concierge and guide them through the process of doing this so that they have the most success. If you just send this link to 10,000 people, you're going to get $0 most likely, because most businesses are going to get confused by the form and never finish filling it out. But what I do is I teach you guys how to use a simple process that's repeatable and duplicatable in order to be able to fill this out. So that is the long and the short of it. Obviously, there's more to it. I'm going to have to jump off. I've got another call starting in 10 minutes. But if Hank or Josh or Eva, if you guys have any other questions, you got about 5 minutes with me right now, and then I'm going to have to bounce. What do you got? Going once? Oh, you're muted.
I'm reading the affiliate statement, and it talks about that the affiliate fee is actually 20%, which is what the company gets. So it doesn't really talk about us. Then it also has a clawback.
No. So what you're missing there is the company takes 20% of the total, and of that 20%, you get 20%, and 20% of 20% is 4%.
I see what you're saying. Okay. And then if there's a mistake made, then the IRS can come back and claw back that fee.
Right. So for instance, if you had a company, go ahead.
They can go after you, as well as they can go after us.
Right. Because the funds were dispersed.
Yes.
Illegally, if that happened. Again, that's going to require people. I got somebody else joining. It must have everyone didn't pay attention to the 1 p.m. Central. It is what it is. So if Hank, Josh, and I'll let Wyatt join by audio, and then I'll just let him know before I have to jump off here. Again, you guys can sign up at signup.nationalerc.org. But yeah, the way that works is they do have the right to claim that money, because if it was fraudulently given, then they can take it back and they can use whatever the power they can to do that. So bear that in mind, but that just makes sense. And that's really just there to make sure you're not fraudulently trying to defraud the IRS at the end of the day. As long as you're dealing with real businesses, as long as they're on the up and up, as long as they didn't cheat on their taxes or whatnot, you're going to be fine, period. And most of these companies, again, they're working with CPAs already. They're working with somebody that does their taxes. So that's going to be a safe bet. It's not going to be the end of the world, right? But they have to put that in there, because that is money, and the government has the right to come after you if fraudulent activity happens. Again, I'm not an attorney. Do your due diligence, read through that thing, and again, I read it, I glanced through it, I understood the gist of it, and I went ahead and clicked accept. That was like, a month ago at this point, 2 months ago, whatever it was. And I understood the opportunity. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do this full time. This is exciting, and I like the concept. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Got like 3 minutes. What else you got? You are a bastion of great questions, Eva. I might have to clip this video and turn them into little like snippet answers or something. But any other questions? Or Hank or Josh, you guys even there? Hank, you lost your video, so I don't know if you stepped away or you got bored.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Anything? I know that you kind of came in late, so you missed some of it. I got a thumbs up from Josh. Okay, good.
I see that you're recording this video. Is there any way that you could shoot that over, just so, since I missed the beginning of it?
I can reach out to me
if you think it's needed.
Reach out to me via LinkedIn and just ask me for the recording, because cool. I've got about 15 people that have messaged me on LinkedIn. I will forget. Somebody asked me for something, but ask me for it. And once it's done buffering in Zoom, I'll send you the link to it just fine. And I might even I'm really tempted just to turn this into like a webinar that people can come and listen to, and it's like a pseudo live webinar because, you know, even then, but I think being able to ask questions live and on the fly makes a lot of sense. So I don't mind dedicating my time to this. I was dedicating like 6 to 8 hours a day earlier this week doing this. And I jumped over and started doing these webinars this way because it's just easier for me to do. It just makes more sense. I see Wyatt still doesn't have audio. I'm going to send him a message here. Hi, Wyatt. I don't know if I'm spelling his name right. Where is it? WYATT. This call is ending now, but you can jump on one next week. They are at 1 p.m. Central Time. Let me move this out of the way. I don't know. Can you see this one? Can you see this? Can I get a thumbs up if you see this? I can't type and talk at the same time. I'm terrible at that. THUMBS up if you can see this. And somebody's binging me over here on LinkedIn. So that's all I got for you guys. Oh, Wyatt, looks like you can connect now. Can you hear me? Okay, I got a thumbs up from Wyatt. So I will send you guys, if you want to see the webinar link, when this is done uploading, I'll send you guys the link to it. I don't mind doing that. I might just send it to everyone that was on the call, in fact, and that way they
That would
can,
be
they can
good.
listen in. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, again, I'm an open book. Reach out to me. There's my next department starting here in just a minute. But reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll get you any information you need. I'm dedicated 100% to your success and happy to have you guys on board if you decide to join up. So I think it's a wise decision. Personally, I'm doing it. I'm dedicating most of my time to doing this because I see the opportunity, and I've never seen anything quite as easy to literally give away free money and make a ton of money in the process. But you got to make your decision for yourself. So do that. Look for an email from me. I'll probably send it from my Gmail just to make sure it doesn't get bounced or spammed. But look for an email from me, and I'll have the replay link. It'll probably come in like an hour or so. Cool.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys for being on, and
Thanks.
I will be in touch via LinkedIn, etc. Cool. We'll see you guys.